Good morning, boys and girls. This is Miss Guzman with you today. I hope you had a great intercession and a little break from doing work, and I hope you are ready to get back at it this week. We're going to look at our lesson plan. We're starting with our reading lesson first. And if we look at it, we're going to read the passage in a tropical rainforest and answer the questions. So you want to get out your passage that says in a tropical rainforest on it. And I want you to read it with me. A tropical rainforest is full of plants and animals. There are more different kinds of plants and animals in a rainforest than anywhere else on Earth. The air in a tropical rainforest is warm and humid. It is warm because it is near the equator. The weather is always warm near the equator. It is humid because it rains there almost every day. Now we always want to read it 2 to 3 times, so you want to go back and read it again. But I'm going to go ahead and get started. We're going to need our yellow, and we're going to go back and we're going to see what is it like in a tropical rainforest. So we're going to go back, and with our yellow, we are going to underline our text evidence. What is it like in a tropical rainforest? I have to go back and I have to reread to see, okay, what is it like? A tropical rainforest is full of plants and animals. There are more different kinds of plants and animals in a rainforest than anywhere else on Earth. The air in a tropical rainforest is warm and humid. So I'm going to start with number 1, and I'm going to show you my yellow that I have highlighted. And I went back and I want to show my key details. Those are the key details that I read about when I was reading about a tropical rainforest. Now, I have a tropical rainforest is full of plants and animals. It is warm and humid. Now, let's look at number 2. Number 2 says, what does the word humid mean? So with our green, we're going to find, and again, we're going to underline our text evidence. It is humid because it rains there almost every day. So humid means it rains there almost every day. Would that be warm, full of life, wet, or near the equator? Should be wet. Rains every day would be wet. Now, number 3 says, pretend you are in the picture. What are the same sounds you might hear? You want to use your inference and your strategies. You want to look at your text, look at what you're reading, what your past experiences, and you want to figure out, okay, what picture do I have of a rainforest if I think about it in my brain? And I want you to come up with one here. What do you think? Might be the sounds of animals in the rainforest. Maybe you hear raindrops in the rainforest. Make sure when we're writing, we're using a capital letter at the beginning of our sentence, and we're using punctuation at the end. All right. So make sure you have your name on your paper, and you want to go on to our writing lesson for today. Today we're going to go over our anchor chart about prefixes. We've been talking about prefixes and suffixes. A prefix comes at the beginning of a word. It changes the base word's original meaning. So I want us to look at our anchor chart and let's go over those. Re means again. If we reread it, we read it again. If we are unhappy, un means not. We are not happy. Dis means not, the opposite of. If we disagree, we do not agree. Miss means wrongly. Misspell means they wrongly spelled it. Didn't spell it correctly. Here we are. Pre means before. Preschool means before school. Over means too much. Oversleep means you sleep too much. Ill ear means not. Impossible. It's not possible. Non means not. Non-fiction, not fiction. So today's lesson is going to be using the prefix un quite a bit. So words with un at the beginning, like unhappy, not happy. So let's look. Let's look at our paper. You are going to use a highlighter. If you don't have a highlighter, you can underline all of the words that have un, the prefix un at the beginning of the word. So let's go through and I'm going to do it with you. The title is After the Store. We just got home from the grocery store. Kids, stay close while I unload the groceries. I know unload is one I want to highlight. Said Mom. Mom, that is unfair. Oh, unfair. I want to go inside, said Kim. Kim, you are being unkind. I know that's another un prefix. Why don't you help me unload these groceries? Unload, asked Mom. Kim and I helped Mom unload the groceries. Watch your step. The floor is uneven. There's another one. I don't want you to do something unsafe, said Mom. Unsafe. We were careful. We helped her put everything away. Now please take off your shoes and unzip your coats. Unzip. Then you can play, said Mom. Yay, said Kim. So you're going to go through and you're going to reread it. Reread. So we'll read that again 2 times. And then you're going to answer the questions. So what did Kim think was unfair? What did she think was unfair? We have to go back and we have to reread. I'm going to find unfair. We just got home from the grocery store. Kids, stay close while I unload the groceries, said Mom. Mom, that is unfair. I want to go inside, said Kim. Kim, you are being unkind. So what did Kim think was unfair? Having to unload the groceries. So I'm going to write Kim wanted to go inside. So make sure you put a capital letter at the beginning of your sentence and punctuation at the end. Okay, let's look at number 2. Why did Mom say, watch your step? So, and I want to make sure when Mom said it was unfair, I'm going to underline where I found it. Always underline your text evidence. Why did Mom say, watch your step? So I'm going to go back. I found watch your step. The floor is uneven. So I'm going to write that down. The floor is uneven. Punctuation. Now, on the last one, use the word unzip in a sentence. I want you to come up with a word in a sentence. You're going to use unzip in your sentence and show it to your parents. A complete sentence. Okay, the back of this page is one you are also going to finish. You're going to finish the last sentence, and then you're going to write the prefix, the base word, and then the complete word. And then we're going to write a sentence with one of the prefixes, draw a picture to go with it, the one that we're using. So it's going to be un. So our words would be, un would be our prefix, our root word, and then our complete word. So you're going to finish this for your reading lesson. There is also a YouTube video for you to watch for your reading lesson. Now we are moving on to math. In your packet for week 2, you had a ruler. You have a ruler that has inches, and you also have a centimeters side. So what we are going to do, if you don't have a ruler at home, you're going to cut out your ruler, and it's going to look like this. We've been talking about measurement and how to measure. I'm going to use both. I'm going to use my ruler, and I'm also going to use the ruler that I cut out from your packet. So I want you to look at the ruler. When you're measuring, you always start, you line it up at 0. This is my inches side, and I know that because centimeters on the other side are much smaller. So I know, and here it says inch. So I know I'm on the correct side. So I wanted to start by measuring something and figuring out how many inches is that. So I grabbed a pen. So I'm lining up my pen at the end where the 0 is, and then I'm going to measure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It ends at 6. So my pen would be 6 inches. 6 inches long. Okay, so let's try another object. That was our pen. Let's try some scissors. So when you measure scissors, you want to do the longest point to the longest point. This side is shorter, but we always go longest to longest. So I'm going to line them up at the 0. And then I'm going to see, okay, where does that longest point go? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 inches. So my scissors are 7 inches. And I can abbreviate inches by writing IN. So now we measured a couple objects. Now we're going to move on to our work for today. So for today, we have this one that says how many inches. You can use a ruler if you happen to have one at home, or this ruler that we included in our packet week 2. So what we're going to do for this one, I'm going to help you with some of it, and then I want you to complete the rest on your own. The most important thing when I start measuring is I have the correct side. If I grab the centimeters, my answer is going to be wrong. I know it says inches, so I have to make sure I'm on my inches side. So I'm going to line up at the end of that string, the end of the line with the end of this one, and then I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is Karen and Jessica A. I'm going to go down here. Karen and Jessica would be 4 inches long. And I don't have to write IN because the word inches is there for me. Karen and Jessica's string is about 4 inches long. So that was the first string. So now we're going to measure Lynn and Jill, which is B. So my answer is going to be on the line B. I'm going to do it the same way. I'm going to line up at the very end. 1, 2. It's about 2 inches. So Lynn and Jill's string is about 2 inches long. So I'm writing 2 on the line. You're going to continue this with your ruler inches. I want you to keep going. When you measure C, you're going to write your answer on C. When you measure D, write your answer on D. When you measure E, write your answer on E. And I'm going to go on to our next paper. So the next paper that we're going to go over is more practice. More of practicing using the ruler, and we're practicing with measuring in inches. So this has the ruler already here for me. So I'm going to use this one is already at 0. So I know that's 1, 2, it's about 3. So I'm going to write 3 inches on the line. Now my fork, that's 0. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inches. You are going to keep going on your own. Measure right. You don't need a ruler for this because the rulers are here for you. Right, then measure and write how many inches. Okay, let's go on. And before we start measuring our next worksheet, I want us to talk about something called a ½ inch. I'm on the inches side, so I want you to look at this. If something measures halfway between the numbers, if something measures halfway between 1 and 2, that's a ½ inch. So it would be 1 and 1/2 inches. 1 and 1/2 inches. If it were to land between 2 and 3, it would be 2 and 1/2 inches. Each one of these is a ½ inch. So that ½ inch and that ½ inch give us a whole inch. So let's try measuring. So I have some hand sanitizer. Let's look at that. We're going to line it up at the 0. Now that one is, let's look, 1, 2, ooh, it's halfway between 2 and 3. So that would be 2 and 1/2 inches. 2 and 1/2 inches. 2 and 1/2 inches. So when you're measuring, if it lands halfway in between two numbers, it's going to be a 1/2 inch. Let's try another one. So let's try the marker. So if I line up my marker at the very end, that has to be the 0, and then I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, it's halfway between 5 and 6. So it would be 5 and 1/2 inches. 5 and 1/2 inches. So if it falls halfway between two numbers on the inch side, it's going to be 1/2. 1/2. Okay, let's go on to our next worksheet and practice. So let's look at number 1. So we're measuring the front of the box. I need my ruler or my paper ruler. And this one is going to be, is it closer to, let's see, 1 and 1/2 inches. So it's closer to the 1/2 inch than it is the 2. So I'm going to write 1 and 1/2 inch. Now let's look at number 2. This one is, it's closer to 1/2. It's closer to 1/2 than it is the 5. So this one would be 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1/2 inch. I'm going to do one more with you. So let's turn our page so we can measure from here to here. And that's going to be right here, 2 and 1/2 inches. So I want you to finish these scissors and the crayon. And now we're going to go on to our last math page. We're going to use our ruler or a ruler again. Make sure it says measure the length of each line segment. We're using inches because the abbreviation is right here. I know it's inches. Make sure you're on the correct side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, it ends halfway between 4 and 5, so it's 4 and 1/2. 4 and 1/2 inches. Let's try another one. 1, 2. That one is closer to the 1/2 than the 3. So we're going to say 1, 2 and 1/2 inches. Now I'm going to let you finish these, and then when you get to the bottom, you get to draw a line. This one, we need to make it 3 and 1/2 inches long. So I'm going to start here, count 1, 2, 3. This has to be halfway in between. So I'm going to stop there, make my line segment, just like that. So make sure you are doing that for the rest of your lines. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I miss you very much and hope to see y'all soon. Take care. Bye-bye.